So here's the website where you can learn how to properly put on a mask. Of course, I will link that below. Moving on, with so many people ending up in the hospital, and I can't begin to tell you how expensive ICU beds are on a daily basis, it's worth talking about billing relative to the healthcare system. One thing that happened was that the legislature attempted to reduce surprise billing, which is that you'll have an expert working at a hospital that is in your health insurance plan, and that particular specialist is not in any insurance plan whatsoever. So even though they are inside the hospital, they are a person that is required to treat you. Because they are not in your insurance plan, then you can get billed these amazing costs. And so I'm going to link to this, which is information on how to handle these bills whenever they come in, because they will be coming in, especially since the hospitals apparently started losing millions of dollars over the whole COVID crisis. All right, and the next thing that I wanted to talk about was schools. And right now, a good place to look relative to handling COVID and schools is South Korea. So with South Korea, they work to try and open up their schools, and you can kind of get an idea of how they tried to prevent everyone from breathing in each other's water vapor. And they weren't going to school full time, and if the social activities were limited, etc., etc., they would still have the occasional outbreak. And so then they had to shut everything down and come up with a new way to approach it. So that's one of the things that the folks in Seoul were talking about, is that as you try to move forward with regaining some aspect of your life that you had before, you need to be prepared to step back and then change your approach, because it may not be working, and if it's not working, then you get into the situation that Texas is in right now. Okay, now relative to Texas schools, I think it's really important to point out that in the CARES Act, 1.2 billion in federal aid was supposed to go to the schools. However, what the state of Texas did is they said, well, since you're getting this federal aid, that means that we can put 1.2 billion back into the budget. So essentially, what they did was to say, we are going to cut your budget by the same amount that the federal money will be, so you don't get any federal money. So the schools have lost quite a bit of money in this particular emergency, and it's a good chunk of it is the fact that they got increasingly offset on taxes. To local taxes, as the state decided to fund schools less and less and less. And so then they had local districts fund them more and more and more. And so now we are reaching a crisis, and they've done it again. So I want you to be aware of this, especially whenever it comes time to start voting in November. All right, next, relative to Texas, I wanted you to know that one of the things that Texas has is a gold depository just sitting there. So Texas has been putting money to the side, so we haven't been fully funding our schools, and putting money to the side for a gold deposit. And what that's getting to, and what's increasingly going to become an issue, is what is money? How is money created? And I recently was directed relative to this question to the credit theory of money, which is that whenever you get a loan, like a car or home loan, then that's how money's created. And it makes a lot of sense, because we have this floating currency. And despite the fact that Texas is trying to go back to a metal currency, that doesn't work, because there's only so much metal that exists in the world. And so you can't possibly back your whole economy with one type of material that has a limited value. And so this effort is a complete and total waste of money. I know I'm saying this as a referee PAC and that we need to be careful about how we position ourselves in politics. But this money is definitely needed for schools, and I'm pushing for that. And so, but you know, this is an issue push. This isn't against any particular candidate. This isn't against any particular PAC or initiative. This isn't on the ballot, but I'm saying it should be. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and then we're going to move forward to other issues.